15 classic films that were banned for being too gay. Do you remember when a theater felt like a secret club? Lights low, a story that hinted at what the papers wouldn't print? For years, scenes disappeared between projector and booth, snipped by boards, pastors, and the odd police chief who decided what grown adults shouldn't see. So we learned to read the margins. A glance held a beat too long, a line that meant more the second time, a friendship the camera filmed like a vow. Tonight, we revisit the pictures labeled too much, too risky, or simply too gay. Not to scold the past, but to remember how we actually watched it. Patient, sharp-eyed, and a little proud when we caught what the gatekeepers missed. Lock your number one now if you like. There's a silent film that was hunted, a thriller that slipped past the code with a grin, and titles yanked mid-run because a kiss was treated like a crime. Censors feared subtext. We learned to hear it anyway. Before we move to the countdown, please like and share this video. It means the world to us. Number 15, Cruising, 1980. Sirens outside, scissors inside. New York didn't just argue about this movie, it tried to drown it out. Crews rolled camera and met whistles, air horns, and mirrors aimed at the lenses. The uproar wasn't about cops or darkness. It was about the film walking into leather bars and refusing to look away. Al Pacino plays an undercover officer, tracking a killer, and the assignment drags him through a midnight world most audiences only knew in whispers. The charge came from ambiguity. The detective's footing shifts, and the picture refuses to tell us what to think. That alone set off alarms. Then came the scissors. Minutes were cut to secure a rating and keep the film in regular theaters. You can feel the missing beats like a song without its bridge. Some houses still wouldn't book it. Some cities tried to stall its release. People remember the argument more than the ad campaign. Letters, pickets, and friends who protested one night and bought a ticket the next just to see the fuss. Is it fair? Many said it leaned on menace. Others call it a time capsule of a neighborhood and a year right before the country's hardest winter. Pacino plays uncertainty with honest eyes, not judging the room, just measuring where to stand. Power can shut a door faster than it can answer a question, and an edit can erase more than a scene. Across the ocean, and 6 decades earlier, a different kind of thunder fell. Number 14, different from the others, 1919. The film A Regime tried to erase. Action first. Authorities restricted showings to experts, ordered scenes out. Then a new regime hunted the prints. Libraries raided, institutes burned, reels seized. Before Hollywood learned to whisper, Berlin spoke plainly. This silent drama, made to challenge paragraph 175, follows a celebrated violinist ruined by blackmail. Magnus Hirschfeld advised the production and argued, in and out of court, that human variety wasn't a crime. For a brief season, crowds filled screenings. Then the door slammed. Most copies vanished, but a shard survived, hidden, later pieced together into the fragments we can watch now. Even in scraps, the intent is unmistakable. No freak show, no punchline, just a plea against shame and a warning about extortion that rang true in every city. We remember what silence felt like. This picture put a name to it and paid the price. Now swap candor for code and watch a master turn glances into confession. Number 13, Rope, 1948. A murder, a dinner, a secret in plain sight. Hitchcock sets his camera loose like a prowling guest, stitching long takes so the story feels unbroken, like one breath you're not allowed to exhale. 2 young killers host a cocktail party over a hidden body, and their old mentor wanders in to notice what polite people pretend not to see. What rattled Censors wasn't just the crime. It was the current between the hosts, coded as friends, staged as partners, framed with a tenderness the dialogue never names. In an era that policed words, Hitch used staging. Hands hovering, looks that linger half a beat, a joke that lands like a dare. Arthur Lawrence salts the script with double meanings. James Stewart, as the mentor, voices the line that binds them. Equality twisted into license, and the room chills. Some towns demanded cuts, others slapped adults-only rules or pulled it outright. Audiences still read what the camera wrote. We learned to watch the negative space, the distance on a sofa, the pause before pouring a drink, the relief when someone changes the subject. That's how subtext survived the code, by turning viewers into accomplices. Change languages, keep the tenderness, and you get a boarding school that chooses compassion. Number 12, Mädchen in Uniform, 1931. Tenderness versus the rulebook. Before uniforms meant order, they meant silence. This German drama sets us inside a boarding school run like a barracks. Posture checked, feelings filed away. A student falls, quietly, earnestly, for her teacher, and the film does something radical for its year. It treats that feeling as human, not a punchline or a diagnosis. No sermon, no snickering, just the courage to show care where the handbook says no. Officials bristled, copies were clipped, showings restricted. Later, the new rulers tried to make it disappear, but memories linger when a movie tells the truth softly. What stays isn't scandal. It's the small rescues. A hand steadied, a voice lowered, a room that won't betray a child for being honest. In another decade, studios would insist on punishment. Here, the crime is compassion. Jump ahead 3 decades and watch an American classroom prove how fast a whisper can burn. Number 11, The Children's Hour, 1961. When a whisper did the damage. Some remember the ads. Audrey Hepburn, Shirley MacLaine, A School for Girls, and a cloud nobody would name. The story is simple and cruel. A spiteful student spreads a rumor that 2 teachers are lovers, and respectable adults do the rest. Doors close, engagements break, parents yank daughters out by the wrist. The discomfort wasn't a scene. They never say the word. It was the suggestion that private lives existed at all. Wyler had filmed the same play in the 30s, with the heart cut out. This time, he put it back. And you can feel the effort it takes to be honest inside a system built to punish honesty. MacLaine's confession lands like a bell in an empty church, plain, unadorned, and years too late to save anything. The film won't call it sin, but it won't grant mercy either. That contradiction is the point. The policing isn't done by courts, it's done by gossip, looks, and the way a town can freeze someone out without raising its voice. Across the channel, a thriller said the word out loud. Number 10, Victim, 1961, saying the word out loud. In a decade that preferred euphemism, this British thriller did the unthinkable. It spoke plainly. Dirk Bogarde, a matinee idol with everything to lose, plays a barrister drawn into a web of blackmail because men are being shaken down for who they are. Fear, hush money, a threat to publish. The film refuses to treat any target as a punchline. It gives them faces, jobs, families, and the terrible pause before a phone is answered. Censors flinched. The word homosexual set off alarms, and boards on both sides of the Atlantic tried to shove it back behind the curtain. The shock wasn't prurience. There isn't any. The shock was recognition. Bogarde plays it close to the bone, shoulders squared, voice tired, like a man done being careful. It was a risk, professionally and personally, and you can feel it. People argued in pubs, lawmakers quoted it in debates. The needle moved. No raised voice next, just a calm kiss that made lobbies boil. Number 9, Sunday, Bloody Sunday, 1971. A kiss they refused to whisper. Some films start fights with speeches. This one did it with calm. Peter Finch and Glenda Jackson share the same younger lover, and nobody wrings hands on cue. Adults talk like adults. Feelings are messy, but not shameful. Then comes the moment that made people walk out in 1971. A simple, ordinary kiss between 2 men. No drum roll, no wink, no punishment. Studios worried, test audiences bristled, theaters hedged. Critics called it civilized, even tender, because it refused to drag love into a courtroom. What lands now isn't shock, it's steadiness. Schlesinger points the camera without apology and lets silence carry the argument. Finch knows who he is and won't apologize. Jackson refuses to pretend confusion is virtue. The triangle isn't a stunt, it's three honest hearts trying to make a workable week. Outside the frame, the old machinery clanked. Swap calm for confiscation, and you get a film booth turned battleground. Number 8, The Fox, 1967. When the booth became a battleground. Two women keep a farm, keep each other, and keep the world at arm's length, until a young man turns up and decides their quiet isn't respectable. What rattled Censors wasn't the snowbound setting or the slow burn, it was the clear, sustained tenderness between Sandy Dennis and Anne Haywood, lit the same way studios lit every proper romance. No sneers, no wink, just two adults choosing one another. Prints were clipped. Some houses refused bookings. In Mississippi, police seized a copy and hauled the owner into court on obscenity grounds. Elsewhere, church bulletins warned it would confuse audiences, as if compassion were a trick mirror. Watch it now, and you can feel why nerves frayed. The camera doesn't leer, it lingers. That was the revolution. This love deserves the good lens. For viewers raised on hints and hedges, that felt like a door opening, and like someone behind trying to slam it. From raids to ratings, when tenderness got the harshest stamp. Number 7, The Killing of Sister George, 1968. Intimacy put on trial. The ratings board slapped an X on it. Britain argued over cuts. Some locales refused to show it at all. Why? Not violence or language. Honesty. Beryl Reid plays an aging soap star unraveling as her younger partner, Susanna York, drifts toward a smooth, predatory executive. What set officials off was an extended love scene, filmed with the same care straight couples always received. Distributors hedged with two versions, one intact for big cities, another trimmed for everywhere else. The message was clear: show tenderness between women, and you're contraband. Time complicates things. The film mixes breakthrough with bruise. One of the first adult portraits of a lesbian relationship in commercial cinema, framed inside jealousy and humiliation. The contradiction stings. Representation arriving with a scowl. Still, the camera makes a claim that can't be undone. These moments belong to cinema. Now trade scowl for sunlight and let joy keep its ending. Number 6, Desert Hearts, 1985. Joy, filmed without apology. Some of us remember when every story like this had to end in punishment. Not here. Set in 1959, Reno, a buttoned-up professor, meets a younger free spirit, and the film refuses the old bargain. No lesson, no shame, no sudden tragedy to make audiences feel safe. Donage raised the money outside the system, fought for final cut, and shot the love the way love actually looks. Attentive, patient, and, when it finally happens, unhurried. That's what rattled people. The board nudged toward an X. She shaved a few seconds, won an R, and still watched bookings vanish in conservative chains. Overseas, some countries banned it outright, or trimmed the very scenes that proved the point. What plays tender to us played dangerous to gatekeepers, because it allowed two women a future. Not a wink, not a sermon, just a daylight goodbye with promise. The revolution looked small on a marquee and enormous in memory. Change the chapel, keep the controversy. Number 5, Sebastiane, 1976. A saint reframed, and the sky broke loose. Before controversial became a marketing word, this one earned it. Derek Jarman shot it like a dare. Dialogue in Latin, sun-bleached landscapes, Roman soldiers without the fig leaves audiences expected. The story is old. A commander's desire, a soldier's refusal, an arrowed martyr from church art. But the gaze is new. The camera doesn't leer. It insists. Heat haze, sweat, quiet devotion, and bodies treated with a solemnity painters gave marble. That was the offense, not flesh, but the idea that sacred pictures already carried a desire. History tried to gloss. Censors balked. Some screenings were trimmed, others blocked. Complaints flared when TV programmers tested the waters. Church groups called it obscene. Art houses called it necessary. Honesty can be prayerful. If that unsettled the room, maybe the room needed unsettling. Now, lace prayer with stopwatches and see who panics. Number 4, Personal Best, 1982. The starter's pistol wasn't the only shock. Front-loaded hook. The ratings board leaned toward an X. Trims followed. Some overseas markets cut the heart out or refused it. And yet it's a sports film that smuggles in something tender. Two women falling for each other while training to win, not to repent. Marielle Hemingway and real-life hurdler Patrice Donnelly do their own work. Blocks, drills, burning lungs. And romance grows out of that discipline. No gawking, no punchline. Just a teammate who knows when to lean, and a lover who steps back before a meet. The controversy wasn't vulgarity. There isn't any. It was about letting women have both excellence and desire in the same frame. Career blowback followed. Bookings vanished where one love scene lit up switchboards. But the picture left a mark. Athletes allowed to be whole people, not paper dolls. Watch the final stretch. Nobody renounces anything. They run, then deal with tomorrow like grown-ups. From tracks to teapots, kindness becomes defiance. Number 3, A Taste of Honey, 1961. Kindness smuggled past the gate. Kitchen sink. Pictures gave us the scuffed truth. Cramped rooms, thin wallets, people doing their best in bad weather. This one adds something bold for its year. A gentle young man who steps in when a pregnant teenager has nobody else. He's gay, and the film refuses to mock him or push him off stage. He cooks, tidies, listens, and makes a shaky little home feel steady for a while. That simple decency set censors twitching. Boards fretted over language, living arrangements, even the idea that chosen family could be better than the loud one you were born into. In some places, the dialogue was clipped. In others, the rating kept the very audience who needed it outside the door. What lasts is the hush of ordinary care. A lamp moved closer, a kettle set to sing, a joke timed to catch a falling mood. No sermon, no scolding, just two people refusing to be lonely at the same time. Now to the Oscar night paradox. Number 2, Midnight Cowboy, 1969, X-rated, and Best Picture. We remember the posters. Jon Voight all boots and bravado, Dustin Hoffman coughing through the cold. What the ads didn't say was why the board reached for its harshest stamp. It wasn't the language or the scuffles. It was the way the film refused to flinch from lonely men, backroom encounters, and a bond that didn't fit tidy labels. A naive hustler chases big city glamour and finds only scripts of cash and long walks home. Then he meets Ratso, and the movie changes temperature. Their makeshift partnership, need, care, pride, was too human to file neatly. Exhibitors balked at the X. Some houses passed, some went late and quiet. Audiences went anyway. The picture became a kitchen table conversation after the kids were asleep. How could something unfit for the public feel so recognizably tender? Then the twist, the statuette, the only X-rated Best Picture in history. A couple of years later, with nothing changed but the wind, the rating slipped to R. Same frames, different comfort level. The memory isn't prurience, it's mercy. Two men build a small republic of two, and the camera respects it. To see the code contort a story in real time. Number 1, Tea and Sympathy, 1956. Politeness as a weapon. If you want to see the production code at full strength, watch how this story bends. On stage, it was frank. A sensitive boy hounded for not fitting the mold, and a lonely faculty wife who chooses kindness over gossip. On screen, the studio stitched on a sermon at the front, a scolding at the back, and sanded the middle until the word everyone feared never had to be said. Moral disclaimers do the talking. The camera does the truth. John Kerr plays a kid who can't pass inspection in a world that thinks manhood is a checklist. Deborah Kerr plays the woman who refuses to let a boy drown to satisfy a handbook. The Legion nodded. The code approved. And yet, what slips through is exactly what Censors meant to stop. The ache of being policed for how you move, speak, sing, or don't. Many remember that ache, the pressure to be ordinary on cue. The punishment isn't a courtroom. It's the tone of a voice, the way a father corrects posture, the sudden chill when a neighbor walks by. The film tiptoes, but the performances don't. A glance by a window, a hand held a heartbeat too long, a closing line that asks the audience to be kind. Those are the parts nobody could clip. In trying to fix the story, the system preserved the evidence. We grew up in rooms where a projector could feel braver than the paper on the porch. Tonight's list wasn't about arguing taste. It was about remembering how the rules worked and how we learned to watch around them. Censors feared words, so directors wrote in glances. Boards feared kisses, so editors taught us to hear the cut. And yet the feeling still reached us. If you remember leaning forward in the dark, catching what the gatekeepers missed, you helped keep these films alive. What's different now? Budgets are bigger, warnings are louder, and the arguments moved from church basements to comment sections. But the question is the same. Who decides what grown adults are allowed to see and what stories get trimmed to fit the furniture? If the past taught us anything, it's this. Small mercies on screen can change a town's temperature, and a single line can outlast a law. Tell us which title surprised you most, or which one you snuck into and never forgot. And if we missed a film that belonged on this reel, name it. We'll pull the thread next time.